Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Interesting show for you. Florida gets completely wrecked in their 2024 schedule. It's an absolute nightmare. I'm going to tell you something. I almost feel bad for them. Now, it's impossible for me to feel bad for the Gators, especially after the last 15 years. But I'm this close. Well, I at least quandered the notion. Is that right? Quandered? It doesn't matter. I still don't feel sorry for them, but I almost do. Come 2024, I won't. Anyway, let's take a look at Florida's schedule. You're not going to believe it. It's not just the SEC schedule, which is really tough. Look where they're starting out. First, they're going to play Miami. Then they have one easy win. The whole schedule, they have one easy win, which is Sanford. Then they play UCF. And let me tell you something. Central Florida is no easy win.
You walk over, but you're limping back.
Then you got Georgia, which is going to be a nightmare. Then you got Florida State. And Florida State has been problematic, and they're going to struggle against them. Both Florida State and Miami are buying a lot of really good players, and they're improving. Then you got Kentucky, who has had your number. LSU, that's going to be brutal. Ole Miss against old Lane Kiffin. I don't like your chances there. Texas A&M, we'll see if either one of the coaches are still there. I think you'll probably still have Jimbo and probably still have Billy Napier. It's hard to say for sure. Then you got Mississippi State. You should win that game. Then you got to come to Neyland Stadium and play Tennessee. Good luck. And then you got the Texas Longhorns at Texas. So that is just a vicious, vicious schedule. And I know something about brutal schedules because we have to play the top two teams in the country every year, which is Alabama and Georgia. We've had to do that forever, us and Auburn. So I know something about tough schedules, but that one is rough. And everybody's seeing it that way. There is story after story. Here's one from Outkick. Trey Wallace said, Alabama asked for it. They got a tough schedule, and Florida got hammered. It says Florida's Billy Napier's seat could be hot heading into 2024. It's already hot. It said Florida looks to be in trouble with this schedule. It said if he has another losing record, will he survive? If he has a losing record in 23, I don't know. He'll be owed $30 million, but Florida's not going to tolerate mediocrity for long. The schedule reveal was not kind, playing LSU, Ole Miss, Texas, and Kentucky at home. Then they got to play State, Tennessee, Texas, of course, and then Georgia. And then it talks about the non-conference opponents, which we just discussed, Miami, Florida State, and UCF. And it says, yes, Florida decided to play every relevant team in its state to go along with a tough conference schedule. I don't know if he's going to be smiling like that. Man, that's a tough schedule. It says, good luck to the Gators, who are sitting in a pretty rough spot. It said, we haven't started the 2023 season yet. Maybe they turn things around so that the 2024 schedule isn't the last measuring stick for Billy Napier, but I'm not confident in the Gators, nor am I. Look, they don't have a good quarterback situation down there. They're going to be relying on Jack Miller or Graham Mertz, all right, two journeyman college guys whose completion rates are not very good, under 60%, and they throw a lot of INTs, and they've not been terribly successful. So I don't know about this. And then the 2024, yeah, they've got a five-star coming in, but he's going to be a true freshman. It's very rare that a five-star true freshman does a whole lot of much of anything. You know, that's really rare. And let's see what the YouTube Florida folks are saying. This one, and I've showed this lady once before, a peek inside Florida Gators football. She said it was wholly SHIT. Let's see what she says about that.
Conference schedule last night, and it is a doozy for everyone. The SEC didn't do the Gators any favors in what will be Billy Napier's third season at the helm. I'm going to tell you why it's actually good news for UF, and then I'm going to share something that you may not have realized. So let's jump right in. All right, y'all. First and foremost, the SEC is going to be exciting every freaking week, okay? There is not a team in the conference that got any kinds of favors from the SEC brass. Looking at this schedule, Florida gets LSU at home, Texas A&M at home, Ole Miss at home, Kentucky. Then their road games will be Georgia, which will still take place in Jacksonville, Mississippi State, on the road at Tennessee, and they head to Texas for Texas's inaugural season in the SEC. So that is an incredibly, incredibly difficult schedule. They lose Missouri, Vanderbilt, and South Carolina and pick up Mississippi State, Texas, and Ole Miss. That is pretty darn intense. I really, I think that this could be a really good thing for Florida, though, because every single week is going to be an incredible matchup. We don't need 9 games to stay competitive with the other conferences for the playoffs if it's going to be scheduled like this, right? You can take the Big Ten's 9-game schedule, the Big 12, the Pac-12, all of those, their 9-game schedules. They are not anywhere as intense as the 8-game schedules that the SEC is going to be producing in 2024. It's not going to even be close.
Well, there's one thing that I definitely agree with on these other conferences that are giving us grief over 9 games. Oh, we played. Well, you know what? When you have 6 of your games are cakewalks, you can play 9 games. We don't have that. We've got, one Vanderbilt and Mississippi State's, down for obvious reasons, and that's about it, okay? Everybody else will kick you in the booty, all right? It's just that simple. So when you're in the Big 12, just shut up, Big 12. Just hush.
Shut up!
Big 10, especially the ACC, too. God, who cares if you play 9 games? Ridiculous. Anyway, let's let her continue.
Be interesting is what will the SEC do after the TV contracts come up for renewal? Will they go to a 9-game schedule, or will they continue to schedule like this intensity of 8 games and kind of see what the playoff committee does? Because if the playoff committee is only going to reward wins and losses without really diving into the strength of schedule and who's playing who week in and week out, I don't know that there's any benefit at all to the SEC to add that 9th game. Right? I mean, could you imagine a schedule this intense, but then add another week of intensity? We can't all play bandy for our 9th SEC game. It wouldn't be possible. This schedule is going to be such a gauntlet for all of these teams. I think it's going to be really hard for anybody to get through unscathed. I doubt anybody is undefeated at the end. So I just don't know the benefit to adding a 9th game if everybody is going to have such a hard schedule. And Florida in particular, is there a team in 2024 that has a more intense schedule across the board? Because I don't think there is. I think Florida will have the toughest schedule in America in 2024. Because not only do they have the 8 SEC games that we talked about, but they play Florida State, they play Miami, and they play UCF. For those of you counting along at home, that is 11 Power 5 games in what will be year 3 for Billy Napier. And, we've talked on this channel a lot, and you've seen in previous Florida coaching regimes, year 3 is generally a make or break year for you. But looking at this schedule, honestly, if Florida wins 6 or 7 games with this schedule, I feel like that's going to be pretty good, particularly if they have DJ Lagway, a true freshman, starting at quarterback. I mean, way to be thrown to the wolves, right? So I know Gator fans don't want to hear that.
Let me assure you, if he's in his 3rd year and he wins 6 or 7 games, and that's probably about what he's going to win in 2023, if that, he'll be gone. Okay? Okay. Florida fans are not going to tolerate that level of play. They just won't. There's no way. Have you met a Florida fan? I'm not. I think she's living in La La Land a little bit on that one, honestly. I mean, he'll be gone. So anyway, I did want to cover this. Florida's, man, I'm going to tell you what, the next 2 years could get real rough for Billy. And I'm not sure how they're going to turn this around. Their recruiting's okay, but I'll tell you what if he wins 6 games next year? How good's the recruiting going to be? What if he loses that 5-star? And then on top of it, look, even though Tennessee has to play the top 2 teams in the country, that schedule they've got's worse. It's worse than what we've got in 24, that's for sure. So anyway, just thought I would cover this. Florida, man, they got problems. And I guess I should feel bad about it, but I don't. Anyway, if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's me know to continue to cover the Vols and all our SEC opponents and all that good stuff. And if you've not subscribed, it's on your right, my left. Just boom, hit that little button. I would appreciate it. And right over here is my most recent video. Be sure to check that one out. We'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.